The safety of South Africa's almost 40-year-old Coburg nuclear power station in the Western Cape has once again sparked global scrutiny. Why? Because Eskom plans to extend its operating life by 20 more years. But let's be clear, what just unfolded at Coburg is far bigger than South Africa. It's a message to the entire continent, and the world hasn't fully grasped it yet. While Western analysts lecture Africa about energy insecurity, mismanagement, and poor infrastructure, Africa quietly just achieved a historic milestone. Coburg, the only operational nuclear plant in Africa, secured a 20-year license extension, guaranteeing clean, stable electricity until 2045.
No fanfare, no applause.
Just Africans operating one of the most complex infrastructures on Earth with precision and discipline. This isn't a South African story, it's a continental statement. Africa is no longer waiting for permission. Africa is already mastering advanced technology. But how did Coburg pull this off, and why does this license extension matter so much? 20 years ago, if you asked global experts if an African nation could safely run a nuclear reactor for decades, they would have laughed. They cited unstable grids, insufficient expertise, weak institutions. They underestimated Africa. Yet, while pessimists wrote their reports in climate-controlled offices, Africa quietly shattered their assumptions. Coburg, standing near Cape Town since the early 1980s, secured a 20-year license for Unit 2, meaning it can operate until 2045. Not because someone was generous, not for optics, but because Coburg met every safety, structural, and regulatory requirement to the highest international standard. Let's be real. Nuclear regulators do not compromise. There are no almost approvals. Coburg passed a multi-year evaluation covering seismic safety, reactor pressure vessel integrity, emergency protocols, steam generator efficiency, radiation containment, cooling systems, personnel readiness, and compliance with international nuclear standards. Even some European plants struggle with this on the first try. Yet Coburg excelled. Even more striking, Unit 1 received its own extension last year. South Africa didn't just renew one reactor. They secured both units, planting a flag in Africa's nuclear future and saying, "We will have stable, clean power for the next 20 years. For decades, Africa was told nuclear was too advanced, too sensitive, too technical. Meanwhile, Coburg quietly mastered 40 years of safe operation. Built in the 1980s, the plant survived political transitions, economic crises, and global energy turbulence, yet remained one of Africa's most reliable energy assets. That stability is not luck. It's discipline, expertise, and dedication. So why does this 20-year extension matter? Because it locks in 1,860 megawatts of reliable, round-the-clock electricity, base load power that keeps industries alive, hospitals operational, and economies stable. Unlike solar or wind, nuclear doesn't pause for weather or drought. It doesn't fail when demand spikes or rivers run low. It prevents the chaos of rolling blackouts that too many Africans know all too well. Imagine this. Factories shutting down, hospitals losing power, entire cities plunged into darkness. Nuclear prevents all that. Coburg provides a constant, unbroken energy supply that powers everything from steel plants to data centers, digital hubs to port operations. Its 1,860 megawatts output isn't just electricity, it's economic security. With the extension, South Africa gains time, the most precious resource in any energy transition. Time to build renewable infrastructure, expand transmission lines, scale up storage solutions, and diversify the energy mix without risking collapse. Investors see this stability and say, Africa can handle modern industry. EV factories, hydrogen plants, smelters, tech hubs, all now feasible because of Coburg. Coburg's success also sends a continental message. Africa can operate nuclear safely, efficiently, and independently. For decades, Western narratives insisted Africa lacked the discipline, culture, and engineering capability for nuclear power. Coburg erased that myth. Africa built a nuclear plant, ran it flawlessly for 40 years, and earned global regulatory approval that many richer nations still struggle to achieve. The real hero, the African workforce. Every control panel, every maintenance cycle, every emergency drill. run by Africans trained to world-class standards. Operators who know reactors like doctors know hearts. Inspectors who leave no detail unchecked. Safety teams whose discipline is unmatched. Coburg is not a foreign charity project. It's a homegrown success story, a living testament to African technical mastery. Consider the ripple effect. Egypt building the 4,800 megawatts El Daba nuclear plant. Nigeria exploring small modular reactors. Kenya establishing a nuclear authority. Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda, Zambia drafting frameworks. They look to Coburg as a model, not a warning. Africa is teaching itself nuclear mastery. The 20-year extension is more than regulatory, it's psychological. It proves Africa can sustain nuclear power for generations, train the next wave of engineers, and anchor its energy grid with confidence. This is the foundation for South Africa's IRP 2025 energy plan, which includes massive renewable growth, battery storage, gas integration, and reduced coal dependency. None of that works without a stable nuclear backbone, and Coburg provides it. Imagine IRP 2025 without Coburg. Nearly 2,000 megawatts disappears. Replacing that with renewables alone? Billions in investment, land, transmission lines, storage that doesn't exist. Gas? Imports and higher costs. Coal? Politically toxic. Nuclear is the anchor that makes the transition possible. Coburg stabilizes industries, automotive manufacturing, mining, cement, digital infrastructure, logistics, water treatment. Investors now trust South Africa's grid, enabling billion-dollar projects. EV production, green hydrogen exports, African battery manufacturing, all realistic now because of nuclear stability. The impact on the continent, profound. Coburg is Africa's announcement to the world. We define our energy destiny. For decades, outsiders dictated solutions. Diesel imports, donor-funded solar, temporary fixes. Coburg flips the script. Africa operates advanced technology independently and safely. Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda, they all see Coburg and think, if South Africa can do it, so can we. Africa's energy future is no longer scarcity. It's ambition. Nuclear gives Africa what no other energy source currently can. Decades of stable, predictable, clean power. Imagine Africa in 2040. Renewable energy thrives atop nuclear stability. Minerals are processed locally. Manufacturing hubs rival Asia. Data centers, robotics labs, EV industries operate without interruption. Coburg is the first domino, the spark that shifts mindset and capability. Africa is running toward its future, not hesitating. One nuclear success and soon 10 nations could follow. The world isn't ready, but Africa is prepared. Do you think more African countries should follow South Africa's path? Which global power will panic first when Africa masters nuclear energy? Comment below. Now let's ask the question no one else is asking. What allowed Coburg to run safely for 4 straight decades, even when the world doubted Africa's capabilities? The answer is simple but profound: the people behind the plant. Every control panel, every maintenance check, every emergency drill, every inspection, every safety protocol is run by African engineers, technicians, and regulators trained to the highest global standards. These are not temporary contractors or foreign supervisors. They are homegrown professionals who made excellence a habit. Think about it. Nuclear energy leaves no room for mistakes. One lapse, one skipped step, one miscalculation can cascade into disaster. Yet for 40 years, Coburg never wavered. Every year, operators retrain rigorously, teams conduct simulated emergencies, and inspectors analyze even the smallest anomalies. Every incident, however minor, is documented, reviewed, and corrected. This is discipline on a generational scale. And this discipline created something extraordinary: Africa's strongest pipeline of nuclear talent. Engineers who trained at Coburg are now mentoring the next generation, shaping future nuclear projects across the continent. From Egypt's El Daba plant to Nigeria's modular reactors and Kenya's nuclear authority, Africa is now teaching itself nuclear expertise, a profound reversal of the global narrative that Western nations must guide African energy development. The 20-year license extension isn't just a technical approval, it's a symbol of continental confidence. It validates Africa's ability to run advanced, high-stakes infrastructure independently and sustainably. It also anchors South Africa's energy strategy, giving the nation critical breathing room to roll out renewable infrastructure, develop storage solutions, and diversify its energy mix without risking grid collapse. Imagine South Africa's IRP 2025 without Coburg. Nearly 2,000 megawatts of baseload power would vanish, forcing the country to scramble for replacements through expensive, unreliable, or environmentally damaging sources. Coburg ensures that doesn't happen. It is the anchor beneath every ambitious energy project, from solar farms to wind corridors to green hydrogen programs. And the ripple effect is continental. When African nations see a fully African-run nuclear plant succeed for decades, it shatters the psychological barrier of Africa can't do high-tech. Countries across the continent are now asking, if South Africa can do it, why can't we? Coburg has quietly become Africa's template for nuclear success, a blueprint for future energy independence and technological mastery. Now, let's look further into the strategic implications. With Coburg secured until 2045, South Africa can stabilize industries. Automotive, mining, cement, and tech hubs can operate without fear of blackouts. Attract investment. Investors trust the grid, enabling multi-billion-dollar projects. Advance the energy transition. Renewable energy, battery storage, and gas integration can expand safely, anchored by nuclear reliability. Train the next generation. African engineers will continue to learn in a real-world, high-tech environment. This isn't just about electricity. It's about powering Africa's economic, technological, and strategic ambitions. For decades, the world dictated Africa's energy future. Coburg signals something radically different. Africa now controls its own destiny. Imagine the Africa of 2040. Renewable energy thriving, supported by stable nuclear power. Minerals processed locally because the industry runs uninterrupted. Manufacturing hubs rivaling Asia, powered by consistent electricity. Data centers, robotics labs, EV production, and biotech facilities operating at global standards. Coburg is the first domino. Its success reshapes expectations, boosts confidence, and sets the stage for a continent-wide energy revolution. Africa is no longer waiting. It is running toward its future, prepared to master nuclear energy and redefine global power dynamics. And here's the question the world hasn't answered. What happens when multiple African nations achieve what South Africa has done? The geopolitical and economic implications are staggering. Energy independence, industrial growth, technological leadership, all powered by African-run nuclear infrastructure. This is why the Coburg story isn't just technical. It's existential for Africa's rise. It's about proving that Africans can operate, manage, and sustain the most complex, high-stakes systems in the world, challenging centuries of assumptions, and quietly rewriting global narratives. The lesson is clear. Africa is not behind, Africa is not waiting, and Africa is not dependent. With the Coburg nuclear extension, Africa has planted a flag in the future of energy, industry, and independence. And the world, they are only beginning to notice.